Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party.
Hey, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole of Research, down here in the basement studio for another exciting episode. We are all crewed up. You have me, Joe. We've got Nick.
You got Nick.
We've got Georgia.
Hello, hello.
And for this episode, which will be on H2, oh my God, water, life, and everything in between, we have a special guest joining us. And as always, we have the guests introduce themselves. That's tradition now, so please.
Okay, hi, I'm Maud Lavin. I'm a writer. I've written mainly nonfiction for decades, books and articles and so forth. This is my first novel, Mermaids and Lazy Activists,
Great
from
title.
Beyond Press.
Very nice.
Good.
Yeah. And I got into this novel because I really love Lake Michigan. I love lake swimming. I'm concerned about keeping the water clean-ish. And at the same time, I was tired of a lot of environmental writing as being apocalyptic. And I started thinking, like, what if I write something kind of goofy and funny and laugh out loud funny, and then fit in some of the environmental information into it. And it could be actually a pleasure, a romp to read. And also I got the idea that of giving a certain amount of the proceeds to Flow, which is a really great nonprofit headquartered in Traverse City. That's a Great Lakes protectorate. They call themselves water advocates. They just
Awesome.
do a lot of environmental lawsuits. So that kind of freed me up to be even more goofy. Yeah, because it's okay. That's the serious part, will be the donation to Flow. And I can just really have fun with the humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So usually I give some sort of definition and then I have lists. So
Is it going to be a liquid list?
it's going to be a very fluid list. So we'll have that. No. Yeah. So I just wanted to, just for grounding, we all know it and love it, but water is a transparent, tasteless, odorless liquid that forms the basis of life on Earth. It is composed of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, H2O, and is essential for all known forms of life. Water can exist in 3 states: solid state, ice, liquid, and gas, water vapor. It is the main component of Earth's hydrosphere and the fluids of living organisms. And with that, water pollution is a contamination of bodies of water, lakes, rivers, oceans, aquifers by substances that degrade water quality and harm ecosystems or human health. And so in this episode, I wanted to plunge into the symbolic, speculative, literary, and scientific meaning of water with Maud here, and especially around her book that she just talked about and getting into, Mermaids and Lazy Activists. And it's a tale that doesn't just tell a story, as Maud was alluding to. It swims through climate anxiety, feminist resistance, and local ecology by way of an unlikely heroine, a mermaid. In short, we're going to be discussing what happens when literary imagination enters environmental discourse.
So question.
Very good.
I haven't read this book yet. I'm sorry.
I'm about halfway through, so that's where I'm at with it. So I've read quite a bit.
Does the mermaid come about because of pollution?
No.
Oh, I was like,
She's one of many freshwater mermaids who live in the Great Lakes.
Okay.
cool.
And
Hundreds of years old. They can live to 200 years, I think, or so. And she's 100 in the book, so she's like midlife. No spoilers.
And she's trash. She's sexual. She's a wise ass. She's not the like twinkly little Disney kind of mermaid. She's competitive. And the other main character, human main character, whose name is Maud, who is also a professor emerita at the School of the Art Institute, as I am. And part of Chicago lit scene, they meet at or near 57th Street Beach. And even though Evelyn doesn't truck much with humans except when she wants boy toys, they start talking and they become friends and competitors too. And Evelyn, through her mermaid group, is required to do some eco work because they have to try to keep Lake Michigan fairly clean because they live there. And the human wants to too because she just loves it. She loves swimming in it. And yet they're also both really lazy. They are the lazy activists. And they screw up a lot or they try something that's too hard. And that's a lot of it. And
Well, yeah, and I think you hit it because when I was doing research and thinking about this topic, especially eco-activism, the thing that kept going in my mind was the 70s, 80s B-horror movies where humans have done something poor. And I have a few examples: frogs, Food of the Gods, piranha, alligator. They all had these Kingdom of the Spiders. They had these varying, usually humans were going in somewhere, destroying the environment, and then nature would rise up and then take their revenge in this kind of very fantastical and horrific way. So having fun here, that's a really interesting take. And how'd you get to that point, like in the storytelling? Did you just and then use a mermaid, I think, instead of maybe other mystical or mythical creatures?
oh, I don't know. There's something about women and mermaids. I just have always liked mermaids. And I've met some other people who write about freshwater mermaids. They're also women.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know. I have had a long time interest in pleasure and activism. That the feeling like what motivates people to actually make change. And I feel like it's desire much more often than only anger and self-defense. Although these days, all of the above.
Exactly.
Okay, but it's a personal interest of mine, and I'll just confide, and it's in the book too if you keep reading. I started out in art history and Weimar studies, 1920s Germany, and my first book was on the Berlin Dada artist Hannah Hirsch, New York Times notable book. See how I snuck that in there?
Yeah, nice.
Very
There you go.
nice. So.
Thank you. Okay, I love the Marxist philosopher Ernst Bloch, and he wrote a lot about these traces that people would encounter in daily life that would either remind them of some pleasure or inspire a future vision of shared pleasure. And so I thought for me, water is like that. I remember swimming in lakes in Ohio growing up. Lake Michigan, how unbelievable is it that Chicago runs right up to the shores and you could just walk over and jump in, or at least go wading whenever you want to.
Do it constantly.
That's worth fighting for, right?
Absolutely.
You do it constantly?
Oh, yeah. My daughter loves going.
We are so lucky. If I have to just sit through, I don't want people lecturing me. I want to think, we got to preserve the lake and even enhance it.
And I think that's so interesting about motivation and like what motivates people. And I think humor is something you can really get a message across so much more with humor than anything.
Oh, 100%. If you can coat things in humor, people see what is the message, and then you're like, oh, I'm laughing, oh, I'm learning, oh,
I'm laughing at this, but oh boy, it's pretty serious.
I should start getting angry over this situation.
Right.
Yeah.
I think of, and actually it's not totally a comedy, but I think of Charlie Chaplin and The Great Dictator. And obviously there's some great scenes that are very humorous when the two dictators are trying to get their chairs higher than the other one. And I also think there's this scene where I want to say his name was Hinkle in the movie, and when he was playing with this big giant globe, and he's just doing these weird things, he's bouncing it off, and all of a sudden then it pops. But what a message that was without saying anything. So I think that makes a lot of sense about getting some really important messages out.
Yeah. And it's having...
Go ahead, Jim.
No, go for it. Yep. No, you're the guest, so you can...
Okay, I'll also say that the laziness part is important too, because they just really want to have fun and they like to have coffee, go to the beach. They're in the poetry circuit, right? They like to give go to readings, give readings.
Recipe poetry, right? That's
Recipe poetry.
That's right.
There's some of that in there. Okay, and the thing is, I thought about this a lot actually. That a lot of us, I think, want to desperately see change, contribute to making change. We really need that in this country, my God. But it's also, can I also have fun with my friends? Can I do this part-time? And for me, I am a lazy activist, and I have to decide, okay, I'm not going to do X, but I think I could do phone banking starting this fall. So I have to make these deals with myself because I do still want to have fun.
Do you consider that laziness, or is it just for your mental well-being?
Yeah, no, it is. I think it's healthy, but how to say, like,
I 100% agree. It's the amount of times I'm like, I should go do that.
Right.
But for my own sanity, I'm not. And it's
it's the book is jaunty. So by embracing the word lazy, they're bratty. The friendship is a kind of bratty one, especially Evelyn and the mermaid, Evelyn. And at one point they're thinking of doing a project on the subway, and Evelyn's, no. If I'm going to go below the surface, it's got to be underwater where it's beautiful. I'm not hanging out on the subway. Like they're very self-indulgent. And then they do hit on some things, putting clover borders around a farm so that to hold back some agricultural runoff, which is one of the big problems. Salt runoff, agricultural runoff, septic tank runoff, and so on. They do.
Lawn care runoff. People don't think about that. That big one.
So they're not being like superheroes. They're just
doing what they do.
Regular human, regular mermaid hanging out and doing something while also eating blueberry muffins.
So the other thing that I thought was interesting, as I mentioned, and I'm about halfway through, is this idea of environmental memory. And what I mean by that is you can look at the lake and its sediment and tell its history, even its history of pollution and things like that. You can go back, and I have some fun facts in a list that I'll talk about. But it is really, it's neat because using the Evelyn mermaid character who holds this historical knowledge, not only of the lake and the pollutants, but the cultures. I found out really the native cultures who were there that had the treaties when the French and the British came in. And I thought that connection there, that you made that jump. So I don't know if you intentionally did that, or was it just you were thinking, this is,
Sure, that was intentional.
Yeah.
And I put a bunch of my friends in the book as cameos, and Tim Moder is this fantastic poet, really one of my favorite poets anywhere. And so he's in there, and then there's some vague allusion that like Evelyn might have messed around with his grandfather. And
that's right. Yes. Yeah.
And Tim is actually part of the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. And I played a little fast and free with Chippewa history review. Tim carefully reviewed it. I guess he's the sensitivity reader, but it's also that, but then there are certain parts that are very carefully researched and talk about the Bad River Band and other tribes and First Nation people who are involved in trying to protect the Great Lakes. And that part is accurate. And then there's some fantastical stuff too, and how they didn't like the French because they were snobs.
Right,
and,
so, yes.
I think you could tell.
Yeah.
I hope you get reading
even to the part how they got their names, right? Because that was a play on this assimilation, and we wanted to fit in or be accepted. And you had this whole, even the Maud character, also that was part of their story and how they got their name and why they were named.
Yeah, absolutely. And Evelyn does take a break from wildly fooling around, and she gets a boyfriend, Malcolm, a merman. And like, who's ever heard of mermaids named Evelyn and Malcolm? But not mermaid.
So I guess I wasn't super familiar with the lore of freshwater mermaids. So you played out on a lot of that kind of existing lore for?
There's not that much.
Okay.
Most mermaid stories are about the oceans,
Okay.
about water mermaids, but they're just such appealing cryptids. There are some others, and there's just there's different Bigfoot kind of stories about the Great Lakes. And they're so huge, and there's so much of the shoreline is so wild that why wouldn't there be, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I didn't. In fact, it wasn't until I was really into the book that I thought, oh, I better look what else is out there.
Go back and
there's
do
some
some
wonderful
research.
stuff, but it's actually pretty different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I was going to say, in story, a more recent memory, two kind of mermaid stories, and they're both ocean mermaids. One was by Mira Grant, or Shauna McGuire, who writes her horror fiction under Mira Grant, Roiling in the Deep and Drowning in the Deep series. And in that one, mermaids are a apex creature of the ocean. And so they've now evolved to be the top, like humans on land, they are. And so when folks go out to the ocean, they're using whale sonar and all these kind of disruptive kind of tools. And then these mer people attack and fight for their ocean or their body of their land, I guess, or their water. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, their territory.
Namor does.
Yeah.
Kind of what Namor does. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then the other one was The Deep by Rivers Solomon. And this was a story that actually was started by William Hudson, Jonathan Snipes, and Davy Diggs as like a hip hop rap mythology. The story is that during the transatlantic slave, Africans were tossed overboard. Some of them were pregnant, and they actually gave birth in the ocean, and they became a mer kind of culture and society. And The Deep by River Solomon was a novel adding to the lore and the myth of this story. The first, maybe many more novels people might write of this kind of mermaid culture, mer culture. Those are a couple mermaid examples that I thought where they had this kind of either eco-activist bent to it or this kind of cultural assimilation, cultural reclaiming. And I thought that was interesting that you had this tether in there. That was really cool as I was reading it. And you started getting that. And I was like, I just thought about the way to use the mermaid besides a siren or this pure horror or kind of just luring men to their death. And that's how they're always used. But this is using the lore and the myth.
It's friendlier, and it's like cross-species friendship. It's also when Evelyn prefers to be in the water, but when she comes on land and changes into, she's not in any pain or anything.
Yeah.
They even Evelyn and Malcolm go with Maud to an AWP writers conference. And the thing about the cross-species friendship, though, is that it's also not that sweet. There's competition in it. And there's a tendency on both sides to regard each other as pets, especially the mermaids keep saying things like stupid humans and finding humans alternately intermittent, like either annoying or fun to play with. It's a little sibling-like, but the environmental importance of that is species coexistence and mutual thriving, but without a preachiness to it. That it's not, they have fights, they give each other a hard time sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's good.
They all like blueberry muffins.
Who doesn't like a blueberry
Is
muffin?
it specifically the blueberries that they like, or is it like the whole muffin
whole
itself?
thing. Yeah.
It's always one of those things. Oh, I just really love some blueberries.
Just gotta have those blueberries.
But that's a little different than blueberry muffin.
Yeah, blueberry muffins, they're cooked and
Anyway,
I was going to ask too the kind of interspecies relationships, because Evelyn has relations with humans on the shore of Lake Michigan at her occasion. And the question that went in my head, especially as a biologist, is: are there any hybrid chimeras that can come out of that? Or did you think that through, or is that in a book? I just haven't gotten there yet. Don't, if it is, don't spoil it. But yeah, I thought about that. Yeah.
It's not in the book, and I haven't really thought about it. I am writing a sequel.
Okay.
And let's see. I don't know if that will. We're going to meet Evelyn's aunt, and we also meet. I don't know if you've gotten to this point in the book. We do meet a Little Mermaids troupe, which is 4-H'ers, but they're little mermaids, and they're more violent.
Wait, what
They're
are
violent.
4-H'ers?
They're very feral.
What are 4-H'ers?
You've heard
sorry.
You've heard of the 4-H.
Darling.
No.
Like a group the kids do lots of different outdoor activities and learn different skills. Kinda
camping,
like,
horseback riding, very
Farming,
environmental,
livestock,
right?
so I was in 4-H years growing up. They're rural, all across the U.S. are mainly rural, and tend to show in county fairs, and they're great.
Yeah,
Which is totally great.
and I just
You're
love
staying in the Midwest for a long time, you got to learn about 4-H. Amazing.
I love the visual of 4-H mermaids. I just love that. Yeah, that's such a
Yeah. Okay, but the hybrid kids,
Right,
kids,
Yes.
that's a good idea.
Especially because they can still have legs. There's also how many Big Macs would it take to
I was going
the
to say,
calories
I'm curious,
of transforming?
since I
there's a
haven't
few.
read it myself, I'm curious about the transformation. Is that written about very much in the book, or is that just...
I'm out, like I said, where I'm at, but it feels like there's, as we say here, a lot of hand wavium on the mermaid to human walking transition. That's
The most important thing to me was that she does not. She and Malcolm too. They don't suffer from, and they do whatever they want, and as long as they want. So there's no kind of punishment or anything like that. So they're stronger than humans too. So they try to pass as humans, but like they're taking the train down to AWP in Kansas City, and it's too hot and they can't open the window. So Malcolm just pushes one of the windows out. That there's this whole thing like they find human rules tiresome. Wait, I want to say something about the hybrid.
Yeah. Please.
So I know some of the activist things that I want to deal with in the second book are, one of them is citizen lobbying.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a trip to Lansing and go around the Capitol and try to make sure that part's authentic. And another is Michigan is a rare state that does not have uniform septic requirements. Okay, I have to deal with that, but I can tell you that Maud and Evelyn are going to try to get involved with that, and then they're just going to be like, ew, this is too gross. I hate this. And then they're going to go off and do something else. But
I can see it.
I have those two things that I really want to get information about in the book, so that they're a little boring, important, but boring. So then I want the fantasy part to be even more fantastical.
Right.
So maybe in the Little Mermaids group, maybe we'll have some people who are hybrid and, Thank you for that idea.
I have that. Yeah, no, it's there. I was just in my head. I was just thinking about it. And also some of the science in there, how that work. And it feels like there's some long history. And I think Nick had asked, like, how the origin of the mermaids, like, how did they actually come about? Were they a aquatic species that then had the capability to come on land?
Also, do they have gills? How are they?
They have lungs.
They have lungs.
They have really big lungs. That's towards the end of the book. There's a whole, in real life, I have fairly severe asthma. I'm trying to get the group, and also my partner Bruce is in the book, involved in like fighting particulate pollution. And I'm bringing some of the asthma measuring things to the beach, and we're all doing it. And Evelyn is just exploding the instruments. They have this incredible lung power, and they also have built these rooms like underneath the cribs.
That's right. Yep. Rooms or whatever.
We suspect that there are other rooms and stuff too, but they don't have gills. They have lungs. So they need to have lungs because I need to talk some about air pollution too.
Gotcha.
Which is not distinct from water pollution.
And are there mammals then? That's what are they mammals? And so like
Wait,
a whale or dolphin.
whale, yeah.
Turtles are not mammals. It's like, come on,
Wait,
man.
You're telling me a turtle isn't a mammal? No, like they live on both land and sea.
They're amphibious. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what you want to
So,
label it as.
There are some amphibious mammals.
Oh, that's
Or-
a good question. Like penguins, they go into the water, they dive, they
live in the water.
but they don't. They live on land, but they can go either
they
way.
go quite a
right,
while
right,
underwater?
Right. I think most of
So
the
I was going to say, it's the biology of having lungs and being in water. How does that work? Is that not compatible?
no, I mean whales, dolphins,
in real
I think they're
animals.
mammals. Yeah, no, they have lungs and things. I think the thing you have to control is buoyancy, because if you're filled up with air, then you'll rise up. So you have to control that and have mechanisms. And if you're diving deep, so we're talking, those are ocean
Depth.
faring mammals, and so they dive. Whales dive to great depths, so they have to have the fat layer to keep warm, insulate. But yeah, they can submerge for hours. I mean, it's for
There you go.
quite some time. Yeah, so you do have
That's
that.
the world making with the mermaids all came from either things that were funny and or sexy, or things that I needed. Like I had certain environmental things that I wanted to talk about. So therefore, yeah, I needed them with lungs.
Yeah, sea otters and seals and sea lions are
And what-
all also, they're amphibians. They go both. They live on land, but they
Right.
actually function better in terms of swimming, and their motions are more fluid in water than on land. And they're at that point because their weight is still manageable. Because if you, like a whale, when a whale is beached, essentially it's hours before it's just going to die, like almost crushed under its own weight. And so trying to get it back out into the water is an effort. So that's
The other thing I was playing with is they're really strong, the mermaids and the mer people, and they swim like they take these group swims where they can go all the way up Lake Michigan and then through a little bit of Lake Huron and into Lake Superior. And that is just pure joy. As a swimmer, like I can't do that, but I can imagine like a stronger version of all of us doing that and just having a blast. And they have to go in groups though, because that's a big swim even for them.
yeah, that part, yeah, where they went up. And then also some of the pollution effects of eating, where they couldn't eat.
Yeah, they
and,
have to watch what they eat.
The
which they
modified,
didn't used to.
that's
They
right,
didn't
yep.
used to.
Yep. The modified livers. So you have a little bit of some of the science in there. So they have these modified livers to deal with the pollution. So probably over time that evolved greater capacity for cleaning.
Now, how are they dealing with
water
the
and things.
microplastics?
Yeah, they don't. They do have big livers. They just we all have that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I was careful about the science in it, and Dr. Mika Tosca is a friend, and she was my science reader.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah.
She went through everything, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Double checked it, and we talked about it. And she used to work for NASA.
No.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No. Like I said, just reading it, though, there's some little science tidbits in there that you go. But then my brain just keeps going. I want more. I'm a sci-fi speculative author, writer, and I do science. So I'm like, oh, how would this work?
Yeah. I might have a little bit more mermaid world building in the second one. Again, mainly so I can compensate for like
Right.
discussions of septic tank policy.
That's going to be fun. A few poop jokes in there, I see. Like, so,
What choice do I have?
Oh no, your arm's twisted on that one.
yeah, there it is.
And the depth of the Great Lakes. Do you know how?
Yeah, I actually have. I have Lake Michigan's depth because that's what I knew we were talking about. So that's the only one I prepared on. The deepest point is 923 feet, so about as deep as a 70-story building.
Oh damn.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Really that
to
deep?
yeah, to Maud's point, the surface area is about 22,400 square miles. So it's larger than the entire country of Croatia. So it's a
Wow.
large body of water, and that's Lake Michigan. Lake Superior is bigger. It's the largest of the Great Lakes. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the expression inland ocean.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
love that because
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah, that's good.
what they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, Superior is so gorgeous too. No
It is.
offense, Michigan, but
No, it is.
oh my God.
Lake Michigan's going to get really upset by that
I
statement.
know.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be like, hey, next year.
Lake Michigan,
The mermaid from
Is the
Lake
only-
Michigan is going to come over.
the only Great Lake that is entirely in the U.S.
Yeah.
So this U.S.'s Great Lake. All the other one shares a border with Canada. So, Lake Erie, Lake Huron, Lake
Interesting.
Superior, Lake
Suck it,
Ontario.
Canada. You can't take Michigan.
You can't take Michigan. No matter how pretty Superior is, Lake Michigan is ours.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so we got nobody but ourselves to blame for the contamination also, yes, at some levels.
Love
They're,
that.
they're all connected.
They are all interconnected, yeah. And Lake Michigan probably at some point was as bad as Lake Erie. So Lake Erie, like, spontaneously combusted. It just caught on.
Lake
Yeah,
Erie,
it was-
go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, go
Lake-
for it. Yeah,
Lake Erie is the most shallow.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
the most susceptible to
The
pollution.
pollution. Yeah,
But it's improved a lot.
it has.
So I grew up in Canton, Ohio, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours south of Lake Erie.
Yep.
And it used to be really gross. And then it improved a lot. And now, of course, since we have that incredible environmentalist running the country,
Yeah.
we're all a little worried about what's
Yes.
going to happen with the Great Lakes.
And I did my college at Penn State Barron, which is in Erie. So we used to go. I
Oh.
remember friends that were from Erie go, let's go to the lake and wade in and do this. I'm like, I'm not getting in that lake. I've seen the videos of this lake that was just totally polluted. But yeah, they put in a great deal of money, time, and effort to
Yeah.
remediate that lake and at least have it where you can enjoy it as a natural resource again, instead of just
Yeah.
being a kind of a dumping ground for industrial waste and pollution.
And bodies.
And as
Bodies.
as you all know, the Great Lakes provide 1/10 of the U.S. our drinking water, 1/2 of Canada's drinking water,
Wow.
the Great Hole. So we humans are in North America are highly dependent on the Great Lakes. So we have a lot at stake.
Yeah. And they have overall about 21% of the world's fresh water.
I love the
Great
idea
Lakes.
that we depend
That's
on
a-
this water so much, and we're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
let's not take care
Well,
of
that's
it.
the funny thing
You
about
don't drink water.
No,
water is that.
we are.
Yeah.
We are.
Good. Yeah.
We're trying.
I was going to say,
Go ahead.
the funny thing about it is that we're mostly water ourselves. And we have this resource. And when you go to talk to people about taking care of our watersheds and things like that, it's, oh, no, I don't have time for that. And not even at a lazy level. It's just I can't be bothered with this thing that is sustaining us and is our kind of,
So-
it's without it,
I put in the back of the book,
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of good Great Lakes nonprofits. So I
awesome.
tried to list as many as I could and their websites. And I had some people who are non-lazy activists double check that
Good.
list
Yeah.
for me. And actually, the politics of those who love the lakes and want to preserve them or even improve them are really interesting to me because it's, of course, a coalition like a lot of causes are, and you got to include fishermen. It's a big, there's a lot of recreational stuff that happens on the lakes and that people absolutely swear by. So it's not an extra. It's not, oh, yeah, and then occasionally I'll go fishing. It's like, a lot of people, it's just huge, really
Right.
huge. When there have been some spills and catastrophes on various rivers that feed into some of the Great Lakes, there's been a huge outcry, and you have environmentalists, you have the recreational people, you have invasive species in various groups trying to restock different lakes. So it's pretty interesting. I think that, and when I was able to do a book gig in Traverse City, which is so much about the lake, and I loved it because people were laughing a lot at my jokes. That's always a good feeling. But it was-
Right.
The lake is a way of life.
Right.
So I think we have to feel lackadaisical sometimes, but I think there's a lot of people who feel very passionately about the Great Lakes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think of the woman, and her name was actually Alice, but Diane of the Dunes.
Wait, I think we've touched on that before, haven't we?
I think we did a little
the
bit in
lighthouse
the
episode.
lighthouse, but that was more about the lightkeeper. But I think we mentioned
Okay.
Diane of the Dunes. But I have read books about her, and now it's been a while, so I'm going out on a limb here. But she was a student at, this was like turn of the century, but she was a student at University of Chicago. And just being a woman, I think she studied math, I can't remember. But she just decided, I don't want anything to do with that anymore. I don't want anything to do with civilization anymore. And she just went and lived right in the dunes by the lake. But the thing that got her to come out of kind of her isolation was she came out to speak about different environmental issues about the lake. And so I think that, I really, just the power of the lake and the passion.
Yeah. I think, as Maud was saying, when you go to the lake and you see it and you're a little bit awestruck, it's like going to see the Grand Canyon. Like when you look out, it's just, you're like, wow, that is an impressive thing. And I remember when we first moved to Chicago, we were living in Hyde Park, and I was like, I'm going to go walk down and then explore a little bit. And so I just went down and I'm walking, and it was the first time I did it. You get to the lake, wow, this is so cool. Then you walk along the shore and you make that turn, and then you see the city of Chicago downtown jetting out into the lake. And it was just, I felt that scene in Planet of the Apes when Charlton Heston falls to his knees. It was the opposite feeling. It was like, oh, this is so amazing right now. It was like, oh yeah,
right?
it was. Yeah, when people come visit, I was like, we got to go do that because it's so cool. You build it up. Like, we turn this corner, it's like you have this surge of just awe. You're like, oh, look at this. Look at what they've done.
Yeah, it's a vast city, and it's so beautiful on the lake. Also, do you go to 57th Street Beach?
Yeah, I think that's where, because we lived right
where it
there.
was,
So, yep.
That's my favorite beach.
Yeah.
I love the view. We just see all Chicago, the promontory point, the beach itself. The beach itself has this long sandy shore. So you can I think I started wading this year in April. Like, the water's really cold, but you can just wade out on the sandy stretch. And then when it warms up, like now or soon, there's a lot of families that go there, a lot of little kids in the sandy part, because it's really shallow, far out. And then you can go beyond that and have a good swim. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really amazing.
It is really cool.
And also going in the winter time. Like when it's obviously not in the water, but just seeing the ice and the.
I've never actually gone here in the winter.
Oh, it's just like really amazing.
I don't know why sand and snow just don't seem to mix in my head.
Just seeing the water though, and
it's still gorgeous. And I think of the lake as a place of hope too. It's very sensual, and maybe mermaids do live there.
Maybe they do. And some of the things just looking up, doing research for this episode, but I learned that the Lake Michigan has underwater dunes and fossil beds. So it has these massive sand dunes and even ancient coral from a time when the Midwest was a tropical sea. And there's actually petrified forest down there, submerged underwater.
Cool.
Yeah. So there is this kind of almost submerged other world.
There's a mystery to it.
I don't have pictures.
No, like that we can.
Oh, I'm sure you probably can find some. Yeah, people probably have.
We'll put them in the footnotes.
The show notes, yes.
Footnotes. But you haven't said that for a while.
I know, right? I felt like I had to.
The other thing is Shipwreck Alley. Like, I also didn't realize there's over 1,500 known shipwrecks are in Lake Michigan, and a lot of them are preserved because of the cold and the water's fresh. Wow. So you don't have the kind of corrosive power of the salt as you would in the ocean. So it's there. And there's even an underwater preserve called the Manitou Passage Underwater Preserve.
Wow.
Yeah, so these cool facts I didn't realize about Lake Michigan. So
That's so awesome.
So that's some stuff. And even you probably can throw that into your novel, some of these bits. That's right.
Each gig I do, I get more people like sharing their pet things about.
Yeah.
Or in case you're a scientist, so it's also your profession thing.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, and this was way back, because as I said, when I was at Penn State Barron, there was researchers there studying mussels. And mussels is an invasive species that is found in the Great Lakes and just taken over. And it was interesting because they're a nuisance in a number of ways, but one way is that they actually filter the water in the lake. And they're so efficient at it that the water is becoming unnaturally clear, which then disrupts nutrient cycles and food webs.
Wow.
So like lake trout and whitefish, they're hard to compete because
Wow.
it's like
They're depriving fish of food, but they are. It's beautifully clear.
Yeah.
Also, just for laughs, I have Evelyn. She says at one point that she's got such beautiful skin because she uses like a ground up mussel shells as exfoliants.
Yeah.
That's a lot of laughs and readings. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Awesome. So it's one of those interesting things. And the other thing is you can smell Lake Michigan in the summer months. There's these cyanobacterial blooms in the warmer shallows, and they produce a toxin called microcystines, and they have a strong odor. And so as you get these blooms, then you get this kind of smell off of the lake, and that's what you're probably smelling, these cyanobacterial blooms. People will say algal blooms, but they're not algae. Algae is different than cyanobacteria, so it's one of the Yeah, so algae is a karyot, so it's more closely related to plants, terrestrial plants. They're aquatic species.
Okay, this is good to know. I think I did have the term algae blooms in there.
Yeah, people say that all the time, but they're usually blue-green. It's a historical misnaming, so people go blue-green algae, but really that's blue-green cyanobacteria, which are photosynthetic bacteria, and they're not directly related to algae. So it's one of these, probably people aren't going to mark you wrong, but they'll know. They're like, oh, that's wrong.
Always,
Just because it's historical.
For book number 2, because cyanobacterial will be adapted.
Yeah, there. So
Right.
so that's just one of those things where people always go blue-green algae, and it's not algae. I know people call it that, but it's not technically. Yeah, so it's just a naming thing. But I think we talked about that in the plant episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like I know this information.
I know, there
don't
it
know
is.
why.
The rabbit holes all connect. That's what we always say.
Like, why would I know?
Yeah, it's like I have no need for this information.
I do, though. I have needs for it.
Yes.
There you go.
You got to go back to our plant episode. I feel like that one we covered. I feel like we covered aquatic life. In there.
We did. We talked about some aquatic plants.
Yeah.
I just do want to put in a plug for Michigan State. I want to put in a plug for Michigan State because I did do some interviews. There's a lot of great environmental stuff coming out of Michigan State, and also the agricultural people who work for the state of Michigan, some of which come from MSU. And I was able to interview a couple of people, and that was really fascinating. So there's a lot of farm service thrust to a lot of the work, and also a public-facing commitment. If you want, you can get your arm talked off about different invasive species that interfere with blueberry crops and so forth. So that was, there really is like the most wonderful unofficial coalition of people who say specifically love Lake Michigan and work and play on Lake Michigan. Oh, one other thing about that too is that the Michigan coast of Lake Michigan is just full of beaches. So all of us technically own at least part of Lake Michigan. Everyone who lives on or in the watershed, it's ours, right? Our country is plural or whatever. But the other feeling of a kind of healthy feeling of ownership is that a lot of people just grew up, just going to the beach, like we talked about it in Chicago, but also all the way up. It's just incredible how embedded it is in so many people's growing up, their sense of self. It's really nice. So in a way, it isn't something to be preached about. It is something to just be tapped in people who already have this pleasure relationship to
leverage that to get people thinking about it and caring a little bit. Yeah, I think people don't realize sometimes they need to care about something or have to put effort like that into it, or just even, like you said, just reading or thinking about that this is happening, out of sight, out of mind.
And a level of awareness.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
We are very lucky to live on the lake.
definitely.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And fresh water.
And I have to say personally, too, it's a point in history. I'm trying to keep names out of this, but I wouldn't say it's an entirely lucky moment in U.S. history. Not
Not-
for me.
Yeah, that would definitely not be the word to use.
So the land itself and the lakes and the water and Great Lakes, they are sort of reminder of like how lucky we are.
Right.
You
And
know,
the and the national
you fight
parks.
for.
Absolutely, the national parks.
Yeah.
The national parks and the park
Yeah.
rangers. I'm just saying there's so many.
Right. Not selling
Yeah.
off public lands.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You cannot tell all of us in the Midwest that's a good idea.
No.
There it did get political, but what are we going to do? That's our life.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have, I guess, authors and have to do, and maybe we'll see another
Honestly,
generation of B horror movies come out of it.
the one movie that keeps coming to mind for me is Idiocracy by Mike Judd.
Yeah.
Because what they were using a Gatorade-like drink to.
I don't
get-
think,
I don't
I've,
think
seen
I've seen that. Yeah,
and
me
that's
either.
the South Park person, right?
No,
King
Who's
of the
Mike
Hill?
Judd? Oh, King of the
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
Oh, you should 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, they were using a Gatorade-like drink to water the plants and everything. They're like, electrolytes. It's what plants need.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It's
There
just
it
like,
is.
Oh, wow.
oh, this is
We don't need that water.
that's essentially what they were thinking. What are you, stupid? That goes in the toilet. What? Yeah. 100% recommend that
Yeah.
film, especially in these days. It's a little too close to home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We can start to wrap up. Yeah. Do you got any? So you have a few more plugs you want to throw in there? We'll get these in the show notes also.
I just want to say this is really fun.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you.
really, really
Yeah.
enjoyed it so much. Thank you again. In terms of October events with the book, we'll be at Seminary Co-op talking about the book, and that's the end of October. The date is
I'll put it in the show notes. We can get that to people.
Okay, the end of October,
Yeah.
be at Seminary Co-op talking about Mermaids and Lazy Activists, and my discussant will be Zach Cahill, who's a wonderful artist and writer and friend. Zach is in there too. Evelyn is trying to get him involved in money laundering.
That's right.
but-
Oh yeah. Yes. I was like, I know that. Yeah. No. That's right. Yes.
I got it.
Wedding bands that she stolen. I guess that was.
Hey, no
Yes.
spoilers.
I want to say that all my friends who are in there in little cameos, I did get their permission for their part.
Yeah.
That's why Zach is still speaking to me. And so, we're going to be at Seminary and have some fun with it and listen to people also talk about what the lake means to them
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No.
environmentalism, not just with the we're all going to die.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or the post-apocalyptic, like we did not heed the warning of a Maud and the lazy activists, and now you have to engage in
How do you think Eve would survive in a post-apocalyptic world?
Eve?
Eve.
Evelyn.
Jeez Louise.
That's okay.
You've
The whole point is that that's a good
Yeah.
mermaid.
You've elevated her to Eve now. It's like
No, they're not. That's why she's required to do eco work by her
Right.
mermaid. Yeah, so she can either do eco work or something like a lot, or different versions of it. But this eco diplomacy is to make sure that it's not an apocalypse.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but they're not having any of that. They're not helpless or hapless, but they are lazy. They do it lazy.
Aren't we all? I was going to say, to the point of water and how important it is to us humans, the novel Sea of Rust by Cargill. It's a robot apocalypse. So there's a war between sentient machines and humans. And not to spoil it, because like the first paragraph of the book, the robots find the last human and kill him. And the whole thing, you go, every movie, Terminator, humans put up a good fight, The Matrix, and it's all this. But in this book, what he said was the robot says, let's poison all the water sources. And we don't need, we can just go, all the humans, if they can't drink water, they're going to die. So it was like this total strategy that, the machine just said, this is what's important to humans, so why fight them? Why use nuclear weapons? And all, no, that's they have to drink. So it was,
this is the opposite of that, right?
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
But it's also not self-righteous. It's not self-righteous.
Yeah.
Because these activists are like, they're fuck-ups, they're funny, they're just playful, and then they do what they have to do.
Yeah. Right? It's just how important water is, that when the machines become sentient, they go, you know what? But it's hard for humans to figure it out right now. Oh, let's just dump all this crap in there. We don't need that water. Who needs fresh water? We'll just get Gatorade.
Gatorade.
I will say specifically for what I'm imagining as your audience. So this book is from Beyond Press in Hyde Park. Mike Phillips is the EIC, and they do mainly horror and fantasy books that are about Chicago. But I want to say for your listeners, if they're doing fantasy, Mike is great to work with.
Yes.
Great to work with.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning of our talk, I have been around the block, right? This is my 8th book. So I know when I say that an editor and a publisher, it's good to work with, I really mean it.
Wow.
So that's a plug too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And I have a story in that Red Line, Chicago.
I'm going to get that one.
Yeah. So I've been
working
with Mike, and since I'm on campus, we met up and did some promo things. So no, I'm excited about that. It was a fun kind of aside from getting stuff back to my agents. But yeah, not about me. It's about Maud here. So yeah.
That's so cool.
No,
press me.
we are. Yeah, I agree. Like, working with Mike was really awesome, and a lot of cool stuff, especially the fantasy and horror. So this was different. So when I started reading it, it's a good read. I'm enjoying it. It, like you said, is very jaunty, very conversational. So it just flows, and the characters are likable in their quirky way. So
I'm looking forward to reading.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll have the links to the book on there, and you can go see a discussion at the seminary bookstore. We'll have that link. Great bookstore. I don't know what time it is, but plein air right next to it. Great coffee shop. So you can make a whole little evening out of it. And so, yeah, cool.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
This was a great conversation.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. I just had a great time.
Perfect.
Nice.
All right. With that, you got me, Joe, here.
You got me.
You got Nick.
Georgia.
We've got Georgia, and
we went down some watery holes.
Watery.
Water holes. Stay activated out there. Stay safe. Love you.